What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to the Hollywood Rip Studio for episode 8 of the Hobby Headquarters. I think it's 8 at least, where we go over big hobby news, auctions, product news, as well as sports updates, driving the sports market forward. Thanks for joining us. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Hollywood, joined alongside by my dude, Joe Nasty, to my right. Yeah. Huge updates from PSA. Absolutely gigantic downtown cards, and another six-figure card has gone missing. And guys, it is finally here, the World Series, and we're gonna see the most epic matchup possible. But let's jump right in and start this week's episode off with PSA. Huge updates from PSA. President Ryan Hogue had a live stream. They have announced, that they are opening a new office in Plano, Texas. It will cover the middle of the country. It's a big deal because why wouldn't you want to cover more of the country? They have receiving stations in Los Angeles, grading in Los Angeles. They now have a receiving station in Texas. They have one, I believe, in Sarasota, down in Florida. They also announced that they're opening their first ever submission center in Europe. It's going to be in Germany.
Oh.
We don't know what city yet, but that is a huge, huge deal. Why? Because it allows people in the EU to ship their cards for grading to PSA in the United States, and PSA will deal with the customs, they will deal with all of that. Oh. So this makes it way safer for Europeans and people all over the world to ship to PSA. That is a big deal. It's kind of ironic that we don't hear about these kinds of updates from like Beckett or SGC, and we sit here wondering why they just aren't doing well.
Yeah, that's true.
Hello.
Broaden your horizons.
What else did PSA announce? They did grading events in Shanghai this year, which were huge successes. They also opened a submission center last year a grading center actually in Tokyo, which is crushing it, as well as Ontario, Canada. They do plan to extend more events into China, and I'm sure eventually they will open a China grading facility. Yeah. But what else did they do? They came out with these new die-cut sleeve holders, like those die-cut cards that are cut weird, how they like fall in the holders and they're crooked. Well, they got a new way to keep those in place. And personally for me, this was probably the biggest one. As you know, PSA Vault and eBay have partnered. And if you send your card to the eBay Vault, you do not have to pay fees when you sell. That's a big deal. But they only allowed it on live auctions. PSA announced that they will allow buy it now by the end of the year. It's a huge deal. If you have a $10,000 card, like we got a $10,000 card right here, you do not have to pay eBay's 13% fees if you sell that through PSA Vault and eBay. Couple smaller things, those little flow lines on the new holders, those got figured out. They created new molds. So once again, PSA is just miles and miles ahead of the competition, and they continue to make strides to be miles ahead. Obviously, pretty impressive how PSA has taken control of the sports and the hobby world, really.
Yeah, the grading aspect of it, right? I mean, it kind of stinks to hear that they're not doing that well business-wise. I mean, opening up offices around the world, literally.
Must be tough.
Really stinks for you guys. Pretty safe assumption, PSA, that they're doing well.
Yeah.
My first reaction when I hear this is, it takes me back to what we talked about like a month ago with the robot grading. Because if you're opening up all these places, and if you're opening up places where maybe they're not as used to the standards, that means that they may need to install something that can take care of things. And what's the best way to put this? If you're opening up offices in China, a place that's pretty known for its ruthless efficiency when helping businesses go through. I think that's a good way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Something tells me that there might be a more efficient way of doing grading if your cards are going to there, perhaps.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
I mean, I think it's fair to say. I mean, the elephant in the room is PSA grades a record number of cards every single month now.
Right.
And the elephant in the room is eventually, they will not have the manpower, and the turnaround times will be so ridiculous. This at least cuts down on
like the deliveries.
On like the international deliveries, all having to come to Santa Ana, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the more they open, in theory, should mean they'd be able to get more out quicker. But it begs the question: if it keeps growing, yes, I think, and they're already looking at ways. We talked about it last month to automate the intake process.
Yeah.
So the scanning of the cards coming in, that will be automated, done by robots. So yeah, I think we are probably headed in that direction, which,
yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm fine with it. I'm for
You
it.
are? Right.
Yeah. Are you?
I think we talked about it in the moment, right? Like,
Yeah.
There is a standard. I think I said I was fine with it because, like,
Right.
at the end of the day, if a guy's working an 8-hour shift, like, his quality of work is going to be different from how he started,
For sure.
from how he finishes, and there's just too much on the line.
Yeah.
But I do also think there needs to be, like, regulations, just a way to make sure that we are getting the best out of this process. And I feel bad taking away the jobs, but
Yeah.
something like this, if there's a way we could do it for, like, oh, this is high end, and we could slip it into a robot arm, you know, that might be a better decision as opposed to just like Steve from Toledo being like, that's an 8.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I know it's not that simple, but you know what I mean.
I get you. I catch your drift. But moving on to our second hobby story of the week, and this one is a big one, literally.
Yeah.
Costco. Panini has released 2024 Donruss football. And they released a special box to Costco.
Nice.
It is a retail product that guarantees a downtown. That's a big deal.
Downtown.
You would think if I say, oh, we're guaranteeing a downtown, you'd be like, wait a minute, how much is it? And I'd tell you it's $57, Steve. And Steve would be like, oh my God, I'm going to Costco and buying all of them. Well, guess what? Steve did go to Costco along with all the other 1,000 million Steves. And they bought out the entire stock the day it dropped. People had carts full, like falling over full. Because this product is selling for over $100 now on the secondary market from $57 at Costco.
Really?
I told you that it guarantees a downtown. What I didn't tell you is that downtown is massive. It's not a 2.5 by 3.5 standard trading size.
How big is the package?
Standard trade. It's big. It's big.
Is it
It's like this.
It's like Costco sized?
Yeah, and the Costco sized downtown also comes in a giant pack.
Oh,
But
it's ridiculous.
But if I'm not mistaken, the downtown is 5 by 7. Okay,
Look this up.
5 inches by 7 inches, I believe. Caleb Williams, after not being in a lot of previous sets from Panini this year, he is in this set. So if you want to pull a gigantic Caleb Williams or a gigantic Jaden Daniel, yeah, it's huge, I'm telling you. But look, after we had that whole fiasco, with them putting 20 plus downtowns into first off the line this year, that was a big deal. It really kind of felt like it cheapened the product. Mm-hmm. Now we have guaranteed downtowns, granted they're huge, for $57. I'm sorry, but hard pass from me on this one. I can't imagine how many wives are out there and moms that are like, you gotta be shitting me. Ooh. You gotta be shitting me. We went from 2.5 by 3.5 inch cards to like portraits now? Like, where are we gonna put these things?
All they wanted was 2 humongous boxes of granola bars from Costco.
Yeah.
And maybe an entire pack of toilet paper.
Yeah.
As people are having a tough month.
Yeah, I mean, look, to me, this like further devalues downtowns, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not special at all. The designs of these have gotten super lazy.
That was my first thought too.
Like the background in these is like the most generic possible skyline of the city, and then let's put one thing in that maybe represents that city. I mean, they used to be so much more imaginative. Like a few years ago. What are your what are your thoughts on, I guess, the downtown? What are your thoughts on the ginormous downtown, and the design of these, and whether these have really started to take a hit in value from the eyes of collectors? It's almost like a gimmick now.
100%. I looked it up to see just how big these boxes were, and they truly are like...
They're ginormous.
It's like if you went to like Toys R Us, but we can say the company name because it doesn't exist anymore. But like go to Toys R Us and get like a big Nerf gun or something. That's how big these boxes are. Did you know I've never had a Costco hot dog?
What?
I know.
No, you have. You came to my 4th of July beach party this year.
But I didn't have it from the food court. I guess it doesn't matter. We'll get to that in a second.
We ordered 400 Costco hot dogs.
I had a hot dog that was initially from Costco, but I've never gone to Costco, the food court, and gotten a Costco.
All right.
That's not the point. The first time you ever told me, or the first time I ever looked up downtown cards, I was like, wow, these designs are really cool. This is something special. This is something different. The kind of stuff that I personally enjoy. And legit, we didn't plan this beforehand, like the Lane Thomas bit a few weeks ago, which I still dream about. My first thought, I pulled up the Googles, and I was like, these images are whatever. Yeah. Like, truly, these are...
They're whatever.
They're not inspirational at all.
No.
And then you just said it, so I'm glad we're on the same page as that. I could truly care less about a card that's this big. It seems like every time we do an article or a story about what's happening here...
Continue.
I will. Again, this is what the people want. It seems like they're just devaluing the product. So
see what happens when we have a gigantic card?
We don't see it.
This is what happens. I have nothing to put this in, so I can't protect it. And if I can't protect it, then guess what? I don't even know where that just went.
No glove, no love. I believe people say that.
But moving now to our third hobby topic of the week, and that's your favorite topic. Topps has officially posted a video, or like a photo, confirming
I love this one.
that the Olympics triple auto of LeBron, Curry, and Durant still has not been redeemed, to contrary. A lot of people are claiming that it has been redeemed. Topps released this last week. It has not been redeemed. And guess what?
Does it exist?
They hired a third party auditor. And the third party auditor confirmed that redemption is no longer in the hands of Topps. So Topps did send it out, allegedly.
Yeah, okay, totally.
But where the heck is it? Is it lost? Is it in a sealed pack?
Is it in a marketplace?
On eBay for $3,500? Is it in a grocery store closet? Is it where the Wemby Green Kaboom is? Is it where the Steph Curry Rookie Superfractor is? Or the Luka Black Finite Prism is? I don't really care about this card. Your thoughts?
Oh, really?
No, I mean, at this point, it's way too long.
It's the end of October now. We're in the 20s in October. Yeah, we're not caring about Olympic stuff anymore. You know, there's no way they sent it out. I think at this point they're just covering their tracks.
I think they sent it out.
You know what I think happened? This is what I was trying to think of. Have you ever seen those like cargo ship videos where like every year
yeah.
we lose 135,000 tons of loose cargo out at sea?
It just like falls off the ship.
It's a little too, it's like,
yeah.
I think it's in there.
Maybe.
I think it's in a cargo ship.
Maybe a mailman's got it. You know?
Oh my God.
Or it's buried, it's like wedged underneath the rack in the back of the mail truck.
Dude.
And it'll stay there for like 50 years.
It's probably in Paris.
Why Paris?
For the Olympics.
Well, no.
See, you already forgot.
Yeah, exactly. But moving on to our next hobby topic, really quick. Golden, NFL Red Zone, and Hollywood Rips, yours truly, have partnered on that Topps Mercury box, as you guys all know.
Yeah.
It is for auction. The current bid is $9,466, including the buyer's premium, I believe. But if you win that auction, you will have the opportunity to open that box live with Ken Golden, Scott Hansen, and not me.
Why?
I don't know. I wasn't invited to that part.
You're the one that set it up.
Maybe I'll be on it. You also will get a signed Scott Hansen football that says "See you in the witching hour."
You don't have the same effect. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't. But look, we got a lot of hate on Mercury, honestly. Everyone's saying, oh, this product is unlicensed trash, or they flooded the market with Wemby autos. Like, all right, guys, can we just chill? First of all, this and Topps Chrome are going to be Wemby's only rookie autos. So the fact that Panini doesn't have any saved about 75% of the rookie auto supply. So yes, we released 6,000 Wemby autos at once. That is true. But had Panini been producing these, as they're producing the majority of players that aren't Fanatics exclusive, the number of rookie Wemby autos would probably be 15,000, not 6. So in my opinion, if Wemby actually does pan out, 6,000 is not enough. They will not have made enough. Quick thoughts on that?
I think it's a lot of people complaining that just don't have a chance.
Well, because the boxes are so expensive.
Exactly. So they're like, oh, I don't like this. So, yeah, that'd be my guess. I think you should be a part of it, to be honest. I'm going back to that. You set this up.
Yeah, we'll see.
When you were there, I saw a piece on, somewhere on I don't know which channel, on the news they were talking about old Kenny Boy with the Ohtani Ohtani ball. And so I was like, oh, I know someone that's there.
Yep.
I didn't see you on the news, though.
Yeah. Look, I get that this product is unlicensed. I get it.
Yeah, I do get that.
It does it look great that it's just the number 1 and not the Spurs logos? No, it doesn't. But you know what?
It doesn't look bad, though.
Debatable. Okay. A lot of people are going to have their own opinions, but I think the fact that there are no Panini autos is going to hold a lot more value than people think, especially if he ends up being that good. Because these are the only 2 products you're gonna find them in. It's just the bottom line. I don't care what you think, how it looks. It comes down to supply and demand. If Victor Wembanyama is the bee's knees, which he was kind of the bee's knees his rookie year, if he ends up being the bee's knees, 6,000 Wemby rookie autos, I'm telling you, is not enough. Moving to our next hobby topic, Shohei Ohtani's 50th home run ball. We had another bid on that ball. It is now up to $2,196,000.
That was me.
Moving on. Next hobby topic. This one's kind of cool. Between 1897 and 1899, there was a Honus Wagner rookie card produced by a company called Henry Rexus Cigars, I believe. This card is currently for sale on golden.com, and I think it's like currently at like 750,000 or something.
Not this one, right?
No, not that one.
Okay.
But it's graded to PSA 1, and it is the only graded copy in the world. There are 3 total copies known in existence. Of course, a lot of you guys are familiar with the 1909 T206, which is considered kind of the holy grail of all sports cards. But that has a much higher population count. And PSA 1 copies of that do like $4 to $5 million. So this is currently sitting at $725,000. And I just find this interesting because people say that the reason that there are so few Wagner T206 cards is due to his unwillingness to promote tobacco to kids, so he had the card pulled from the set. However, I don't buy that story.
Really?
No, because this rookie card kind of is going to prove my point, along with this card spinning on the pedestal here. But this was Henry Rexus Cigars. This is a cigar company. Honus's true rookie card, and I think it's his only card from his first team in that uniform. It's a cigar. It's clearly it was used for cigars. He is on it, right? Clearly, Honus was in 1909 T206. These sweet capital ones on the door here. And this card right here, spinning in front of you, is a 1949 Leaf Honus Wagner, graded BVG5 Beckett Vintage grading. And if you see in that picture,
Yeah, I just noticed this.
Honus is holding a pack of cigarettes in his left hand. He is holding chewing tobacco in his right hand, and his cheek is stuffed with tobacco. Honus did not die until 1955, so he saw that card.
Right.
Okay? So that leads me to believe that theory number 2, which is he didn't like what he was being compensated monetarily for the set, is more than likely the reason why his T206 card was pulled. Any quick thoughts?
I noticed that as you were saying it. I was like,
Yeah.
Isn't he holding chewing tobacco?
Yes, he is.
Perhaps, even if you're addicted to something, you still know the evils of it, I guess.
Right.
But I think you're correct.
By the way, there it is. If you haven't seen it.
That's Honus Wagner.
Hans Wagner.
Hans.
Hans.
I had no idea his real name was John, by the way. Look, what do you think in 1940 or 1950? What do you think the compensation he wanted for that? Like $15, which in today's would be like $200,000.
Yeah, probably.
Ooh, I want my $15 so I can
Probably.
go get a pack of gum from the store.
Probably. But moving to our next hobby topic, and that is, of course, Topps Now and Joe Nasty's creation, Topps.
How?
How?
How did that happen?
Props to Topps, by the way, because this is another week of no animals or beekeepers or Pokemon cards as Topps Now cards. Great job. The Juan Soto batting gloves from his ALCS clinching home run.
Yeah, that's pretty
That
good.
1 of 1 is going to be offered. I think that is a pretty freaking sweet card if you're asking me.
Have they reached out to us yet for licensing?
No, they have not. Actually, we probably have to be the ones reaching out to them because Topps How for this week belongs to Cleveland Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase.
Oh, that's a good one.
We'll put it on your screen now. Of course, Emmanuel Clase, for those of you who don't know, pitched 74 innings this season and allowed 5 earned runs. In 74 innings. That was good for an ERA of like 0.5. It was something ludicrous.
He's going to get Cy Young votes.
He will. But what did Emmanuel Clase do in the ALCS versus the Yankees? Well,
Not a lot.
he gave up 8 earned runs in 8 innings. 8 earned runs in 8 innings. He allowed 5 earned runs the entire season. How's this, Emmanuel Clase? You're welcome, New York. 1 of 1. Autograph. I would buy that if I was a Yankees fan.
Yeah, I would too.
Sick card.
If that's what I'm saying, if they offered enough on these if they offered enough on these Topps Hows, like, hey, tough moment, but here's some good cash.
Tough moment, but like,
Yeah.
would you take $1 million to do this? Like, I
If
would.
I was the pitcher who had that moment, like Emmanuel Clase, absolutely. Although
Yeah.
easy for me to say,
would.
right?
Moving on.
He was bad though. He was so bad.
Yeah,
it was shocking. Like
it-
Cleveland was in the positions they needed.
Yeah, they
And
were.
he ruined it.
They were. But moving on, speaking of baseball, we've got an MLB update.
The baseball.
We've got quite an MLB update.
Do we ever?
Let's start with the Yankees. They cruised past the Guardians in 5 games, although 2 of them did go to extra, so I don't know if I'd call it cruise. Maybe thanks to Emmanuel Clase, they cruised.
Yeah.
But Soto, Judge, and Stanton were literally insane. Like, they were like the only good. They were, for the
think-
most part.
Glaber did pretty well.
Glaber was okay.
Yeah.
But they did the majority of the damage, as they should. They
As you
get
would expect,
paid
yeah.
to do the damage. But the danger here, I think, is really if they don't go, if Soto and Judge don't go, I think the Yankees are truly average at best. And I think when they do go, I still think the Padres are a better team than the Yankees. Also leads us to ponder after Soto's clinching home run last night. How much money does Soto get?
a lot. He does get a lot. I said it to you as we were watching the NLCS. It's just insane for me to think of a player getting $600 million who's only hitting. You know, I know technically Ohtani's getting $700 million to only hit, but he's not. He will be pitching at least a little bit.
Right.
And his economic impact is much more than Juan Soto.
Right.
As much as I respect and think Juan Soto is an amazing, truly amazing Hall of Fame hitter, he doesn't have the economic impact that Ohtani does.
No, he does not.
So how much should he get? 400 to 500 million total. I mean, and I think that's still silly. How much will he get?
Well, I don't think.
God, I don't know.
I don't think 400 million is silly. Like Trout got what, 420?
Did he?
Yeah.
420.
I don't think 400 is silly. Like I think 500 isn't silly.
He
for Soto
is
either.
technically a Gold Glove finalist. Not that he really earned it.
I cannot believe he is a Gold Glove finalist. Someone did like put together a compilation of all the balls that just go over his head that he misreads.
Hey,
there's at least like 10 of them.
What do we know? We just watched the games.
That's true. That's true. The Dodgers. The Dodgers finished up their series with the Mets tonight. They were able to get through 4-2. Not 100% sure what Flaherty was doing in the game so long in Game 5. Kind of clearly didn't have it. Apparently he was under the weather. But fastball velocity was way down. Couldn't locate. I feel like the 2 games that the Dodgers lost in this series, they got down by like 1 run or 2 runs. And Dave Roberts was like, let's just throw our worst possible pitchers and just kind of give it up so that we can have the full bore of the bullpen in games 6 and 7. Kind of a ballsy scenario for Dave Roberts there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wasn't a huge fan, but it worked out. So, but we said going into the playoffs that the Dodgers would only have a chance in these playoffs if they scored 6 or more runs a game. Well, they've scored 7.5 runs per game in the NLCS. Quick recap thoughts on Dodgers and Mets?
Yeah, really weird series, right? Because every game was essentially a blowout.
Right.
In fact, truly, the only lead change of the entire series happened in Game 6, the clincher. Mets took the lead in inning number 1. Dodgers scored 2 in the bottom of the first. And that was the only lead change of the entire series. Now, both teams did put pressure on. There was a lot of moments where things could have swayed, but someone didn't come up clutch. The offense was relentless for LA. The pitching did enough when it mattered most. They seem to be wearing down as these playoffs are going on, but the series did get easier. And we said this time last week. The Padres series was a much more difficult task, both in team that they were facing and in terms of short spurt of a 5-game series. As the series went on longer, the depth and the talent won out, and the Mets just flat out aren't as good as the Padres, in my mind.
Yeah.
So really weird series, tension, but yet also like as it got later in the game, there was no tension.
Yeah, I mean,
the game was played in innings like 3 to 6.
As we've alluded to before, it's not like we call this Hollywood Rips because we live in Jupiter, Florida. We've grown up watching the Dodgers our whole lives.
Yeah.
This Mets series compared to that Padres series was an emotional, like it was like getting a massage compared.
In comparison, yeah.
In comparison with that Padres series. Some quick World Series thoughts. It will be Yankees at the Dodgers on Friday night in Game 1. The Dodgers will hold home field advantage for this year's Fall Classic.
Right.
Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Giancarlo Stanton, they need a big series out of them. The aces have to be aces for the Yankees. They really do, because at the end of the day, and today was a big, and you talked about this just before we started, but by winning today, it guarantees that the Dodgers will only need to throw 1 bullpen game in the World Series, right?
Probably game 4.
That's a big deal. And the Dodgers' biggest weakness is starting pitching.
Yeah.
How are the Yankees going to put pressure on the Dodgers in this series? Well, it's by having their guns like Garrett Cole show up and be unhittable and win those games to really put the pressure on Buehler and Flaherty and Yamamoto, guys that just the names don't have the same pedigree as a Garrett Cole does. I think this is going to be a real tight series. And I mean a real tight series. I think it's going to go the distance. I think we're going to go 7 games. It's going to come down to Game 7 right here in Los Angeles, and we will not be there because we cannot afford it, most likely. I hate to say it. I'm going to take the Yankees in 7.
Yeah.
I just think they're going to have a better starter than us in Game 7, and if they score early, it is going to be an uphill battle. Any thoughts on the World Series?
It's going to be basically 2 lineups that have the same mantra, which is swing at strikes, only swing at strikes, think fastball, lay off breaking stuff out of the zone. They're both going to do it. They're going to, every single game, as many games as it goes, are going to be grindhouses of games. And this might be an old school 3.5 to 4 hour game, because even though walks in general in the postseason are up, these are the 2 teams that are accounting for all the bases on balls taking place.
And boy, does baseball want to see this fall classic go 7 games.
They really do. To go between these 2 stadiums, these 2 fan bases, these 2 superstars.
Yeah, they kind of need it to go 7 games.
They do. Considering we had Arizona versus Texas last year, they needed this. Look, this is a rare series where I really think Game 1 will dictate the rest of the way. Can probably Jack Flaherty get into at least like the 6th inning? Because...
Well, it'll probably be Yamamoto, no?
Well, I was reading, because if you start Flaherty, then you have because Yamamoto needs 5 days rest. And so Flaherty, by putting Flaherty Game 1, it sets up him being able to throw again on regular rest.
I see.
Yeah. There's going to need to be sim games pitched over the course of this week.
Yeah.
It's just going to be how deep can the Dodgers starters go? Because they can't cover all those innings against this lineup with... I think this is an excellent... I trust their bullpen, but I think we saw tonight the cracks were showing a bit against the Mets.
A little bit, yeah.
And...
A little bit. And don't forget, this Yankees bullpen, I think, is every bit as good as the Dodgers bullpen. So I don't think the bullpen will be a glaring advantage for the Dodgers in this series as it has been, or as it was against the Mets. I think the Padres bullpen was better than the Dodgers.
It's which team can chip away at the pitching, because it's not going to be one fell swoop. Right. It's who can get into the bullpen, who can make starts short, and who can continue to put pressure on.
Yeah.
And remember, one team has to throw a bullpen game.
Right, and then it just comes down to the big timely hits, which Soto and Stanton have quite been there doing that. Moving to our NFL update, we're just going to rattle them off for you.
Let's do it.
Denver went to New Orleans and pounded the Saints 33-10. The Saints scored 40+ in the first 2 weeks of the season. It feels like someone turned up the difficulty level to all Madden for Spencer Rattler and Derek Carr and the Saints there, because it's been ugly. The Eagles destroyed the Giants. Daniel Jones was benched finally.
Have a seat.
In the game of the week, the Lions edged the Vikings in Minnesota 31-29. Incredible game. Both those teams are very real, and we could very well see those teams meeting in a very big playoff matchup in January. The Colts over the Dolphins 16-10. Yuck. Not fun to watch either of those teams. The Packers edged the Titans at home 24-22. Sorry, not the Titans. The Texans. Excuse me. Joe Mixon's an absolute beast, but C.J. Stroud struggled in this one to just 86 yards passing. The Bengals, after a horrible start to the season, are now 3-4 after beating the Browns on the road. Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles. I never want to say that an injury like that is a good thing, but it's, the Browns need to move on from Deshaun Watson. The Bills crushed the Titans at home. Amari Cooper caught a touchdown in his first game ever as a Buffalo Bill. The Seahawks clipped the Falcons 34-14. The Jags pounded the Pats. The Chiefs moved to 6-0, and they beat the Niners on the road. Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy combined to throw 0 touchdowns and 5 interceptions today.
Yeah, go figure.
But what happened? The Chiefs still won. We talk about it all the time. Doesn't matter how bad Patrick Mahomes plays, they still find a way to win. The Rams eked past the Raiders at home. Honestly, not that impressive. Devontae and the Jets. Devontae's debut back with Aaron Rodgers for the first time since 2021. And what happened? They got smoked by Russell Wilson and the Steelers on the road. Might be time to say the Jets suck. Monday, we have a doubleheader, Ravens at Bucks. That could be a shootout. And Chargers are at the Cards. Quick NBA update. Season kicks off on Tuesday with the defending champions Celtics hosting the new-look Knicks and Karl Anthony Towns. And LeBron, Bronny, and the Lakers hosting Ant-Man and the T-Wolves. Victor Wembanyama will start the year at Luka Doncic and the Mavs on Thursday, along with Klay Thompson, who went like 0 for a million in the preseason.
God. Yeah.
And then OKC, our favorite team, not actual favorite team, but the team that we think is going to turn a lot of heads this year.
League Pass team.
I think they're going to finish first in the West again, but they're at Denver Thursday night for the start of the Russell Westbrook experiment in Denver, which has been an utter disaster for every team that has attempted that over the past few years. But that'll wrap things up for us here at the Hollywood Rip Studio for episode 8 of the Hobby Headquarters. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Next week, we'll have a special segment where we break down and analyze the first couple games of this year's Fall Classic. The World Series begins Friday. And of course, we'll have the Cardboard Critics Sports Card podcast breaking down hot cards, cold cards, and invest cards of the week, airing for you just tomorrow. Once again, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And you guys have been doing it in troves, and we love you for it. We have 1,500 of you strong now.
Wow.
Been awesome support from you guys, so thanks so much. So until next time, I'm Mr. Hollywood, that's Joe Nasty, and we'll see you on the other side. Mr. Hollywood, Joe Nasty,